Triple Cross. Welcome back to the podcast. Today we're going to be going over how we're feeling about some of the takes that we made early on before the NFL season actually even started. We're calling it our Take Temperatures episode, and we've got the return of Q back on this one. It's been a minute, Q. Good to have you back. Before we get into all the introductions, though, you know we got to open the show, so away we
Lillard with 47 tonight, working it down to 2-1, a deep three. What? Blazers win the series. A walk-off three for Damian Lillard.
Samuel, wide receiver screen, good play, big play, and in for the touchdown.
And Turner looks for the deep left field. Ranging back is Profar, and it's a 1-0 start for the Dodgers.
Second batter of the game, and the Dodgers take a 1-0 lead.
Welcome back to the Triple Cross podcast with your hosts, Casey, John, and the return of Quintonius Harponium, Q. Q, it's been a minute, man. How you been? Tell us what's going on in life, bro.
Dude, I've been great. I actually just got back from a trip to Milan, which was a lot of fun. And yeah, spent
dope.
Thanksgiving in Milan. Yeah, it was pretty fun. Aside from the 20-hour travel day, it was all fun though.
Awesome, man. That sounds exciting. I'm glad we got you here to do some catching up on some of that talking we did early in the season. John, I'd be remiss to get the show started without asking you how you're doing as well, my man.
I'm good. Let's go.
Let's do it. Into Take Temperature. So I mentioned it a little bit in the intro, but basically all those things we said early on before the season started, not even early on in the season, takes we shot way before anything started. We took some projections at who's going to make the playoffs, who's going to win certain categories as far as players in the NFL. And today's the day we pay the piper on some of those picks. We will also get our flowers if we happen to have struck some gold. So we're going to start off with
a lot of metaphors there. This is a whole lot. We got flowers for gold. And
I speak in metaphors, you know. You can maybe grow some gold in
So
flowers. I said that backwards. All right. Anyway, starting it off, kicking off. We're kind of going around the horn here. We're going to go straight next to me, to my man John. John, we're going to start off easy on you here. All right. We're not gonna go straight for the throat. We're gonna go ahead and celebrate you first with some of John's best takes from the preseason. John said that Justin Jefferson would lead the league in receiving yards. Currently, he has 1,232. He's 1 yard behind Tyreek Hill, so a great pick so far. And John also said the Vikings would win the NFC North, which was maybe a little bit less popular of a pick than the Justin Jefferson pick early in the season. And they're up 5 games in their division. I mean, it's all but over.
It's theirs to lose for sure.
So this is your time, John, to take a victory lap. Why don't you go ahead and tell us your thoughts on it, and then Q and I will react to it really quick. We'll make sure we hit all these items. So we got a lot to go over. But we want to hear what you think about these, John.
I mean, we all had homer picks right early on. Like, Q had some Rams picks with Matt Stafford and the Rams winning the division, and you had some homer picks with the Niners. I think the Vikings, things have just shaken out best for them so far in their division, right? So those are my homer picks. And I probably would have taken Dalvin Cook to lead rushing yards. I'm kind of glad I didn't now, but I think you beat me to that on the rushing yards. So I think you got to pick before I did on that. So I probably would have had 3 homer picks on the Vikings. So yeah, I don't know. Not much to say. It's not like I had some crystal ball and I knew the Packers were going to suck. These are my homer picks and they've shaken out pretty well so far.
Q?
Yeah.
I can't even give him props because he's just picking his favorite team.
Yeah. I think the circumstances for the Vikings have just been a little bit better. They've also been playing, pretty well, impressively well.
When they lose, they lose. They
started off
lose.
the season really, really, really good. But I don't know, these last couple of games I haven't been so impressed, honestly. But yeah.
Yeah. I think the only thing I'll call out here is I think our back and forth on rushing receiving yards, Casey, was, I think you said like you don't see Dalvin Cook being able to get scripted out of game, where you see Justin Jefferson being able to get scripted out of game. And I took the opposite viewpoint there. And that has come pretty true. Like they're finding so much, they're putting him in the backfield. Like they're finding so many ways to manufacture, like getting the ball into JJ's hand, which if you've got him, use him, right? Like props to them for that.
Yeah, no doubt. And I don't want to sound like Q here at all, because it's not about who's in your division. Every division has had some surprises for sure. The Vikings have been playing good football. I do think it's interesting what you said with the point differential, basically, is what I'm trying to bring up here. When they lose, right? Like up until last week with what was it, 7-2 record, they were negative point differential. So like that they win
basically because of that loss against Dallas.
Yeah, and I think their other loss was similar, not as outrageous maybe, but yeah, they win close games obviously, and they maybe get blown out when they lose. But is that something you worry about as a playoff team? I don't know. I think you like to think like, hey, if you can keep it close, we're the guys who got the shot. So
you don't see a lot of blowouts in the playoffs, so like that gives me hope. I think I said that last week. The other thing that happened this last week with the Vikings is they won a primetime game, which is that's Kirk Cousins' freaking kryptonite just in prime time. So yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I mean, got to get over those prime time woes. All right, enough of the sunshine and puppy dogs. Now it's on to nightmares and
darkness,
slimy like stuff. I don't know. Here we go. whatever is not something you want to have. John's worst takes. Russell Wilson will lead in passing yards. Eagles will miss the playoffs, and the Raiders will win the Super Bowl. I'll bail you out real quick. I'm going to go ahead and go first on this one. John, I think you were, even when you made the pick, you knew it was a long shot with the Raiders winning the Super Bowl. That's a 1 in 32 shot anyway. So tough call there. I'll bail you out a little bit on that one. I was right there with you I didn't think Russ was necessarily going to win passing yards as a category, but I thought he had a shot at it. I was generally up on Russ.
That was an outside shot too.
My main gripe here with you was one I didn't even realize. I don't even know at the time if I did. It took me a second. I almost overlooked it, but you had the Eagles missing the playoffs. Not to foreshadow into the future, but I particularly saw issue with that one. I think that was a big miss. They're a good football team, and that's where I'll dock you an actual point on that one. No half losses. That one's a legit L. You got a lot of W's to wear. I think that's the real L you're wearing.
See, and I actually don't have that much of a problem with that one. I feel similarly in hindsight, it seems awful, but I actually feel pretty similarly about not thinking they'll make the playoffs as I do about not thinking the Steelers will make the playoffs. Like now it seems like, oh, how could that even be close? But before the season, I put them in a similar category of like might make the playoffs maybe type of teams. So like, yeah, I don't know. I was wrong. That's great. I mean, I like the Eagles, so I'm happy to be wrong there. But
there we go.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't feel so bad about it. I'm like, it flipped my way. It might flip my way on the Steelers.
Gotcha. For those who don't know, on these football episodes, it's kind of my job to kind of play host and corral everybody. But so I want to stay on topic here. But Q, this is your chance. This is your monologue. It's time. You're the one to do it. Tear John apart for the Russell Wilson take.
All right, listen. You already know what I'm about to say, and Casey, I'm not gonna lie. I'm more disappointed in Casey than I am in John.
I was right there
because he was really defending this man, saying that Russell Wilson was gonna be what? Like what? He was even gonna come close. I could have what? Like how would you even say that?
These are John's worst takes, just to be clear.
But you were co-signing his take though. So, anyways, yeah, that was just completely out of the blue. I didn't even know where you even got that from. As you could tell, my reaction in that episode, I was just like appalled that you even thought for a second that he was gonna come close. But hey, to each their own.
Hey, I said at the time it was an outside shot. Q, you don't have anything to say about my Raiders take? Raiders winning the Super Bowl? Oh, you have anything to say?
Nah, the Raiders take was a little more understandable considering the season that they had
preservation to do.
And they also,
that's right, you do.
They also just acquired the best wide receiver in the league.
So what you're saying is the exact way I said they would win the Super Bowl would be the way they would win the Super Bowl at this point.
Well, I'm not mad about your Raiders take. I'm mad about your Russ take and your Eagles take.
I get you.
Before we move on, it is interesting, John, you said, because this won't be coming up, but for one of Q's arguably bad takes, maybe up in the air. He had the Raiders winning their division.
I think that's bad. I don't think that's possible at this point.
Right. I think that one is expired, but it's not going to get mentioned. Whereas yours, John, is to win the Super Bowl, which is still possible.
I had him fourth. I had him fourth in the division winning the Super Bowl. They could still win the Super Bowl.
Winning the Super Bowl is completely different than winning the division.
Yeah, one's impossible technically right now. One's not. Like, it's weird. It's backwards. I get what you're saying, Q, but it's weird how it shook out. Just the nature of time.
I hear you. Look, I wouldn't pick the Raiders to win the Super Bowl right now. It does seem like a long shot.
But your narrative is
still technically possible. And my narrative was they'll suck and then they'll figure out how to get it together. They'll barely get into the playoffs and then they'll win it all.
It's a terrible narrative, a terrible pick. It's not going to happen. But that does segue us into the last leg of our three-legged attack on each one of our hosts here. We're going to the up in the air picks for John. So these are picks that John thought could happen, and they still have a chance to happen. Some of them are more likely than others, but here they are. John said Derrick Henry would lead in rushing yards. That is possible. He is second right now to Josh Jacobs. He is trailing by 111 yards because Jacobs just went nuclear. John also said the Steelers were going to miss the playoffs. Right now they're tied for fourth in their division at 4-7-1, but I think mathematically it's not a guarantee yet. So what do we think about that? John, go ahead and kick that off. Or Q, you haven't had a chance to kind of start.
In terms of, go ahead.
You want to go ahead, Q?
All I want to say is that I drafted Josh Jacobs in fantasy, and I just want y'all to remember this, but everyone roasted me for picking two quarterbacks back to back, and I ended up drafting the number one running back in the league right now. So just want to put that out there. But
you can
both. I also
did
say, to be fair, I also did say Derrick Henry is an old guy. Don't think he'll be able to handle the load, and he proved me wrong. Do I think he's gonna be number one? No, I don't. But we'll see. It's still up in the air. That's why that's still up in the air. So
I think that's about as close as a concession as you're going to get out of Q on Triple Cross. So
Derrick Henry's probably got the best chance of being able to miss a game and still lead rushing yards, right? So if Josh Jacobs missed a game, then I think it might hurt him. Derrick Henry just gets so many touches that he gets an extra game's worth of touches over the course of the season. But yeah, no, I mean, look, dude, he'll be closest out of all.
Get injured. Remember that.
Yeah, he'll be. Yeah, well, I mean, he could miss a game and still get enough touches to win.
Honestly, I think
he'll be closest out of all of our picks. I bet
with Derrick Henry. Actually, I don't think so. I think your Justin Jefferson one will be the closest.
No, of our running back picks.
Oh, of the running backs, almost for sure. I don't agree that Derrick Henry is the most likely to make it if he misses a game. I think probably the way that it happens is either Jacobs gets hurt or Jacobs is more of a dual threat. So if they're trailing in games a ton and they kind of turn into more dump offs rather than true running the football, I think statistically it could shake out that way because Derrick Henry's not catching a ton of passes really, whereas Josh Jacobs finds himself needing to sometimes. So, and then the Steelers missing the playoffs. I think that's probably likely to happen at this point, but just again, in kind of the NFL community, there's a lot of talk about Coach Tomlin, head coach for the last 15 years of the Steelers. I think it's 15. He's never finished below 500 before. Sure, he's had a really stable quarterback position, but he's never finished below 500. And a lot of the media is talking about hey, can he just get above that 500 mark? And I think that might be the playoff line mark, just somewhere around there. Yeah. You never know. So what do we think, guys?
I think I just had some recency bias on the whole Belichick Brady thing. People said the same thing about Belichick. Well, he's a genius. He'll figure it out. And it was yeah, I mean, I think your stable quarterback has a lot to do with it. I just wasn't sold, but
right. Do they figure it out in a year?
Right. Yep. Yeah. In an off season, basically. Yeah.
Because Tomlin's not getting fired if he fit 16 years, he goes under 500 once and you're out.
Get out. You're
loser. Come on,
What's wrong with you?
There's no way.
Yeah, both you guys had the Steelers in the playoffs, though. I'm more interested. I guess to me, I don't feel like that's outlandish as a pick to be like, let's give them a year, But
I think that's part of it. To be fair, we both had them as a wild card, so but it's one of those things. 15 years, they've been a solid team. Sure, Big Ben isn't there, but like
hard to get past that confirmation bias.
He's been progressively missing more and more time on average throughout the last 10. Actually 10 seasons probably is true. I meant to say 5, but 10 is true. And they've made the playoffs with some pretty terrible QB play, even from Ben. So I didn't think it would be that big of a drop off. And actually, I'm still not. It's an up in the air for a reason. I think Kenny Pickett's coming into his own a little bit. It's kind of on schedule for a rookie who didn't even start the year as the starter. So it's possible.
If the rest of their record is favorable to them, they could make it.
Yeah, I haven't looked that deep into it. Took enough
or the rest of their schedule. I mean,
to dig through all of our old takes. I did enough research to, that would have taken forever to get all the angles. But that would be something interesting to look at. We'll watch it. We'll watch all these items as the season progresses. But now it's time to move on to the man who just went a little humble on us for probably the first time on the show. He leans into that character who's staunch.
It's because he knows what's coming.
And he kind of already got a shot at this one, but it's the real victory lap time. It's the best take I think you had from the offseason, Q. Russell Wilson flops in Denver. This one was more of an anti-take of John's take, but as we've already talked about, I was kind of on board. So against the show, you were really the one who essentially had to take the.
And I would say against the NFL community. A lot of people in the NFL community kind of thought.
It was a little up in the air, but Q was very one-sided about it, and we were the other way.
To the point where I was like, you just don't like Russ, do you? Yeah.
No, I mean, I don't dislike Russ. Don't get it twisted. Like I told you guys my reasoning. But yeah.
Well, what do you think of all the stuff that's coming out now? Like, Russ like running around doing high knees on the plane. A lot of old teammate stuff is coming out. Last week during the game, he got yelled at by some player, some defensive guy who's like, "You need to go." Like, what do you think here?
He does not fit well into that organization. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Who does? What's?
I don't know who does, but Russell Wilson is not that guy to do that with the Broncos. Not even close.
What happens?
Russell
needs to be.
I mean, they're committed.
The Seahawks.
This is a good point. What do you do, Q? Since you're the only one who had this take, I'm interested in what you think here. What do you do if you're the Broncos at this point? Like, what's your course of action? Because they're kind of stuck.
They just gotta hold the L. I mean,
just hold the bag for a minute, like 3 years.
Like, what can they do? What are their options? Honestly, just think about that. This is his first year there, so it's like, no, what are they gonna do with that?
He's lie in that bed you made.
If it was like 3 years, then okay, maybe now we're talking. But this is literally a start, fresh first year. Not much they could really do.
I think they are stuck with about 3 years of that contract at a top 10 at least salary. I don't have the details.
Is it a 3-year contract or
no? It's 5, but I think they have an out essentially after 3. I think it was a 5, but I think they essentially are stuck. It's de facto like a 3-year. Like
you gotta hope it has to do with the coaching. You got to burn down the coaching staff and just cross your fingers. Hopefully, but I don't think
barring some like crazy. Is there any amount of last point here? Is there any amount of turnaround in these last games? Let's just say they missed the playoffs for sure anyway. But like, is there any amount of turnaround that could save jobs and instill hope into the fan base?
It's like he can ball if he could just play how it seemed. Like I kind of feel like we all know he can play, but that would be the only thing. I don't know.
I think they're gonna have to be forced in a situation when they scrap the coaching, either next year or year 3 for us.
Yeah, I think that honestly we're gonna move on here, but I think Russ sadly might have played his way out of the Hall of Fame. Before he goes there, I think he's a Hall of Fame quarterback, hands down. Now we don't know. But anyway, moving on now to other quarterbacks who have had interesting seasons. Q, some of your worst takes. Matt Stafford leads in passing yards. The Rams make the Super Bowl. They're currently 3-8, and the Vikings miss the playoffs. You were alone on that one as well. So this is your chance to kind of give us. Yeah. Go ahead. I'm setting the stage. Set up
All
your
right.
defenses. We're coming for you with both barrels on these ones.
I
I
hope
think.
so, because y'all got to come harder than this, because this is weak. This is like, these are weak. Okay, first of all, Matthew Stafford leading passing. This man is injured. And I quite literally said this is contingent upon him being injured and Cooper Kupp being injured. Cooper Kupp is also injured. So how is he? Like what? Of course he's not going to be leading. That's not a bad take. It's just like it's an unfortunate situation.
You can't play both sides of the coin.
How many games have they missed?
I mean,
How many?
Like your whole
hold
argument
on.
against Derrick Henry was that he'll get injured, right? So it's like injury is a possibility with everybody.
Well, I said he was old, and therefore he'll get injured.
Yeah, and even he didn't get injured. So
I didn't say,
even he didn't get injured, but your guy did.
He didn't get injured, so therefore, like, okay, good on him. But Matt Stafford got injured, like, and I said that when I made the take. You can literally go back and watch the video. I said,
I think everybody could give the caveat, right?
Is this a little bit of a cop out though, Q? I mean, what we've seen.
Yeah, I could give.
Matt
If
Stafford
I can't give the caveat,
okay,
to Derrick
but to
Henry.
be fair, for this to be a bad take is for him to play a full season and then literally not be even close. Then it's like, okay, all right, now that's like a terrible take. But in this situation, it's like, what do you want me to say? Like, he got injured. I didn't think he would get injured in the way that he did and missed this many games, and neither did I think Cooper Kupp would.
How many games do you think he's missed?
I mean, he's only missed like one or two, but I said it was contingent.
So do you think his
Cooper
pace
Kupp.
was anywhere near? If he's only missed one or two.
I said it was contingent upon Cooper Kupp, and Cooper has missed like 3 games. So
that's
yes,
it's not.
That is a very big deal, and he's what is he, like 2,000 yards right now or something?
That's pretty gross.
Yeah. I mean, Cooper Kupp missing
who's ahead of him?
4 games plus a bye week.
This is the dagger coming for you, Q.
You know who's ahead of him?
I mean, let's hear it.
Russell Wilson.
You know who's what? Sorry.
Russell Wilson is ahead of Matt Stafford in passing yards.
I'm sorry. Is Russell Wilson injured right now?
Russell Wilson did have an injury this year. Yeah.
Okay.
He played through it.
Is he injured right now?
He
played through his injury.
Is his star wide receiver injured too?
Okay, you know
the injury thing is a caveat for everyone, right? Like we could all say an injury caveat, but that was always a possibility.
You're saying Russell Wilson like that means something. What does that mean?
I mean, that means Matt Stafford was nowhere even near on pace to like lead passing yards if Russ is ahead of him now. Even if he's only missed 2 games.
They're both at the same yards per attempt, so like what is I don't know.
So like what you're saying is Stafford is in the same category as Russ? Like neither of them are close. Like Russ is bad. That's your whole point about him. Is he bad?
Bro, all I know is that I said that if Cooper Kupp gets injured, then this man Matthew Stafford is not doing work. That's all I know.
I mean, everybody. Yeah,
that's true. There's literally no one else on that team.
Okay, Q. Here, I've got something for you. And this will just serve as like a nice baseline, I think. Matt Stafford and Andy Dalton have played the same amount of games. Okay, Matt Stafford does have more passing yards than Andy Dalton. All right. By like 50. So that's the kind of pace he's on. He's on Andy Dalton pace. Do you really believe that Andy Dalton pace would have equated to end of season top passing yards? Let's be
without
real.
A healthy Cooper Kupp. Yes.
It's on there.
And an injured Matthew Stafford. Yes.
So can we just assume that
he's been dealing with his injury since game 1? Yes.
Can we assume all these points are what you'll say about the Rams going to the Super Bowl?
Matthew Stafford has been playing through injuries. Yes.
Okay. He's been in 9 games. They've won 3.
And he's been injured in those games.
2 games.
He's been dealing with his injuries since last season.
Okay, that's the NFL. Like they all.
I know.
If he's been dealing with
like,
it,
if sometime between now and the end of the year, Derrick Henry gets injured and he would have otherwise won the passing yards title, then I get to say he wins it. If you're going to use the same excuse.
Also, a little bit of onus on you if it's an injury he's dealing with
this
last year, and you picked him. This year.
Yeah. If you're like he's been dealing with it since last year, like. But
let's move on to the last point here. I want to hear this one because you didn't really touch on this. The Vikings missing the playoffs. What do you have to say for yourself about that one? I guess because
I think
they're going to make the playoffs at this point.
I simply just believed in Aaron Rodgers.
you didn't think 2 would make it out of the North.
Yep, this is just a judgment call, I guess.
I think this isn't like I don't think he's like super counterculture on that pick. You know what I mean? Like I think a lot of people maybe would have been on board.
It's not egregious, and you can tell by his defense. His defense it's just this.
Yeah.
When with the other takes, he's so firm about it. It's the homerdom leaking through, and I get it because my turn's coming up next. So,
but also the Rams to make the Super Bowl, John made that take too. So it's not really a crazy.
I did
worst take. You can't put that take only on me, and John made
it.
Too.
Was it the Rams? I take the Niners to win.
Since no one else wanted to say that,
I think I miswrote that. I think you were the only one that had them winning the division. I think,
right,
and that's what should have been there. Yeah, you had them winning the division. My bad.
Okay,
you had them winning the NFC West. Yeah,
John had. I'm just realizing, John, you had 2 teams that didn't even win their division going to the Super Bowl.
Dude, you guys just chose like a lot more.
That's
like
crazy.
I just was trying to choose weird stuff. You know?
You're now he's trying to choose weird stuff.
I said it at the time. I'm not.
I kind of get it. That's what I did on the basketball
show,
show, and it turned out really well too.
But I can't choose my home team to win the Super Bowl or win their.
No, you can. You know, you can.
All right,
you
boys.
just have to take the same lumps. You know.
That's crazy.
Oh, one more thing here. Q's still up in the air takes. Weirdly, you were the only one who didn't have this. I had to search far and wide a little bit because you had crossover with me and John in a lot of different places. So you were actually the only one who didn't take the Niners to win the NFC West because you had the Rams winning the NFC West. Yeah. So what do you think? A little about the Niners here. What do you think the odds are here? How are you feeling about this still up in the air take that the Niners won't win the NFC West as things currently stand?
Seahawks are half a game back. Cardinals are a lot more.
I just think right now, overall, the NFC West is really trash.
Yeah.
The Cardinals suck.
What?
The Rams suck. The Seahawks suck. The 49ers are decent.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
Like, I think they just like
we just pitched a shutout. No big deal.
Yeah,
like
they're good since the CMC acquisition. Like really,
yeah. And they got CMC.
They've got some questionable losses before that for sure.
They got Debo. They got they're.
Sounds like you're not liking your pick the more and more you talk here.
No, they're a solid team. I mean, bro, because I know what it is. Like, I get it. Like, I know.
I'm not ready to say they're gonna win it. This belongs in up in the air still.
Yeah, I'd throw him some bail because
I would
how
be surprised
likely
that the Seahawks came back and won the division. That would be very surprising to me. But I think,
they've been surprising all year.
The 49ers are the better team. That's just my opinion. But
I agree.
Geno Smith, you never know.
They've been surprising all year. That'd be like par for the course. So
I would actually throw.
And to be fair, I curated that take just so because it's not like you had the Seahawks being the one. But.
Right. I would throw Q some bail on that too because that CMC acquisition, like you even said, Casey, like that's an unprecedented kind of thing.
Doesn't happen like
really hard to project something like that. Yeah.
We were at dinner when we heard about that news, and that was crazy. Like that is the biggest.
He was real bummed.
No, and honestly, I think without the CMC acquisition, I would be like very confident in the Seahawks winning the division, or not winning the division.
It'd be closer,
but like they would have like a fighting chance for sure. I mean, they still do, but like it's still too soon to tell. I mean, they're only a game down, but we'll see. I don't know.
Don't worry, that won't be the last of the NFC West talk here. Moving on, though, to yours truly. We're going to start in the same fashion with my best take. Eagles win their division. I was the only one who had this one. Right now, they're 10-1. I think they're up 2 games. 2 games on the Cowboys right now. It's not. I should have put this up in the air because obviously it's still up in the air that they win their division. But it was because they were undefeated until a couple weeks ago. Like it just feels like even if they were to lose at this point, there's a certain amount of like I kind of was right on the Eagles where
Yep.
Nobody else had that kind of in discuss. I remember even discussing the playoff predictions. Nobody was thrilled to put the Eagles in the playoffs. It just felt like the
Q's got him in there, but
Q's got him, but not winning the division. Not like
I was more than happy to put them in there.
All right.
I think this is like one of the. So Casey does things where he like he makes good picks, but there are certain like he has some blind spots when it comes to making some picks. And one of those blind spots is like it's very hard for him to think the Cowboys are going to do anything good. And this this totally served you in this circumstance because you're like I kind of like, and you like the Eagles and you're hot on the Eagles always, you know. So it's like those two biases like totally worked out for you here. And sometimes your biases bite you.
The Cowboys wouldn't even be where they are if it wasn't for their second string quarterback winning them a bunch of games.
I love this kid. Yeah.
Like I hate the Cowboys. Just want to put that out there. I hate the Cowboys.
I also don't like the Cowboys, but
I was willing to give them that winning spot. I was willing to do that.
Yeah. We won't dally on that one too long. We got a lot to get through. On to my worst take by far, I think. Debo leads in receiving yards. Getting ahead of this one. Man, season's sure different. A lot of things have changed, right? Different quarterback, emergence of other receivers. The offense has been kind of hit or miss. I think they're coming into their own. We acquired the best offensive weapon in football. This had a low likelihood even when I said it, and I kind of knew that. But
yeah, you called it out.
I'm not backing off of it. It was a homer pick, like John said.
I can forgive you for that.
I lived in it. Q did the same thing. We've been there.
No, but the Debo. Okay, hold on. Sorry,
it was a bad take. Good.
Your Debo pick was worse than any of my other picks, which is crazy. So just want to put that out there. My man's is not even in the top 25.
Okay,
but he's probably in the top 25. But
your best take was an anti-take of John's, and I had to word something so specifically to even have an up in the air take that's still alive.
I would give Q credit. I would give Q honorable mention for Josh Jacobs. He didn't say it on the air, but he did double draft him. He drafted him in 2 fantasy leagues.
This man's acting like what are you talking about, man? You said Debo who?
Samuel. Wide receiver. You're the future Super Bowl champions.
I know you don't have Debo in our intro.
I respect
in our what? Oh, I do have Debo in our intro.
Take him out of there.
That's Debo, baby. I mean, hey,
giving it to the Rams.
It might be CMC. It might be CMC come a month or two from now.
You might have to swap him out because that's ridiculous. You might have to swap out that Debo Samuel jersey for a CMC jersey.
I actually respect this pick because Debo is like your favorite player in the NFL right now.
I mean, CMC is hard to deny right now, man.
All of a sudden, he's a CMC fanboy.
Right. I mean, I am Niners right now.
How many fantasy leagues do you play in, Casey?
Oh, I have Debo in all of them.
You have Debo in every single one, and your name has to do with your team name is Debo themed in every like
Debo must go
I respect
on,
this pick because like I don't like any NFL players as much as you like Debo, but there's some NBA players that I'd be like, F it, I'm all in on Dame, or like I'm all in on somebody. So like it's like even if I know they're an outside shot, I can make an argument for them and it'll be a pretty good. Like I remember we gave you like a decent score for this because we were like, you made a creative argument for like a challenging pick.
It was
it was not a good take.
I gave him a 0.
It was not a good take.
Okay, where's Matt Stafford again? Let's go. Okay.
Yeah.
At least he's in the top 10 or 15.
He's not in the top 15.
He is in the top.
He's in the top 15.
He is in the top 32.
No,
he's not in the top 15,
about. Matthew Stafford is in the top 15 or top 20 at least.
20 maybe. 20. I don't think
Debo Samuel not even in the top 20.
Debo Samuel he's number.
Yeah, but there's not as many.
No cap.
Not that many quarterbacks.
No cap. I think he's number 21. He's not in the top 20.
Yeah, out of not as many quarterbacks as there are receivers.
I'm looking at the top
Samuel,
25.
he's number 20. Okay, look, Matthew Stafford is number 22. Debo Samuel's not even in the top 100.
Yeah, but there are 3 receivers out on the field for a team at any given time.
It's not an equal comparison.
I think relatively,
he better be the best.
Debo is in the top or the higher percentage. He's in a higher percentile.
Moving on.
Okay.
Your boy here definitely has the most takes that won't die, at least. All right. Like I got a lot of these up in the air takes. They're down on the ticker if you're watching on YouTube, which is where we broadcast. So I don't even know why I said that. But just to read them off here, there's a bunch. I had the Niners winning the NFC. They're currently 7-4. I think they're currently the 3 seed in the conference. So that's definitely still alive. Brady leading in passing yards. Basically on the back of he's just going to try more passes than anybody else. That for sure is true so far. He's attempted the most passes. I think he's third right now, something like that.
Yeah, that one's seeming less
Brady
likely.
Is not getting number one.
No, he's probably not, but it's not dead.
Yeah,
right?
It's not. It is dead. It's certainly dead.
Q has different definitions for things now.
Yeah.
I had this. John had to let me know this one because I totally missed it. Actually, the rest of these. I was the only one who had the Saints making the playoffs. Seems unlikely, probably at this point, but it's not dead. Cards missed the playoffs. I was the only one who had that one. Equally kind of ambiguous. They're all kind of in that weird middle. I think we're gonna have.
It's kind of the opposite of the Saints. Like probably seems like you're more likely right on that one, but not.
They're all in a squishy middle where there's going to be some surprises and a lot of not surprises. And then the Colts win in the AFC South again, pretty unlikely, but it's not dead. But we don't have to call that like a good pick for sure. No, unless they do, unless they pull it out. Hey, head coach change, Jeff Saturday. That man's a good head coach somehow. I don't know.
Get your head coaches from high school, and that's the winning formula.
Well, he was a starting O lineman for that team. So.
I know.
Anyway,
the Titans are going to win.
Let me ask you guys. There's a lot here. What do you guys think is the most likely and least likely to happen from this list? Niners win the NFC. Brady leads in passing. Saints make the playoffs. Cards miss the playoffs. Colts win the AFC South. What's most likely to happen?
Q, you go.
Most likely to happen. I have to say, honestly, none of these.
Cards miss the playoffs.
That's not the exercise we're playing.
Cards missing the playoffs is the most likely to happen.
Dude, honestly, okay. If I'm just going through these, Niners are not guaranteed to win.
None of these are guaranteed. That's why they're called up in the air.
I think the Cardinals are relatively likely to miss the playoffs.
Yes, I guess the Cardinals missing the playoffs is most likely to happen.
They are the 13th
highest percentage chance of happening.
Yeah. What do you think is the least likely to happen out of all these?
The Saints, by the way, are 14th. So they are back to back in the rankings.
Brady leading in passing yards, least likely.
I think Saints making the playoffs is less likely.
Dude,
maybe
well, I think in my opinion, Brady winning in passing yards is like a 0% chance.
So Brady leading in passing yards, Saints making the playoffs, and Colts winning the AFC South are all real close, but I think Saints making the playoffs is the least likely.
Yeah,
because Brady's kind of coming around in the last few games. Colts are coming around in the last few games. The Saints are going nowhere, man. Like
the Saints, that's a tough one. Yeah.
And the Niners are coming. A lot of these kind of have momentum. Like maybe they could happen, but the Saints one I don't think has any momentum. You know.
Here's my last take. I think you're both right. I think that the Saints making the playoffs and Brady leading and passing, actually being number one. I think if Brady finishes top 5, it feels like it's like a silver. Like it's like, hey, that wasn't a bad pick.
He could probably finish high. He will finish higher than either of our picks for sure. Like,
that's not the, I can't victory lap that. But Saints making the playoffs, pretty unlikely to happen. Brady leading in passing yards, pretty unlikely to happen. Those are pretty even to me. I think middle ground actually is Cards miss the playoffs, Colts win the AFC South. I think those are both like, hey, who knows? Could happen. Could see it happening. And the one I would say is the most likely to happen is the Niners winning the NFC right now with the momentum they're building.
There's some homerdom there, though. I think
that's for sure. But like, I mean, even just likely. Most analysts, like top 3 in the NFC, they'd say it comes down to like the Eagles, the Niners, maybe the Vikings, like Cowboys. I guess is what most people say.
Well, so I the main reason I think that one, like Cards missing the playoffs, I think is more likely. Niners could win out and not win the NFC. Like I think that's pretty likely. I think they could totally win out. And
I mean, that's a lot of wins.
Yeah. But then the Eagles will still have a lot of wins. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, that's how I see it. I guess that's the conversation I hear is like, it's either the Eagles, the Niners, or the Cowboys probably out of the NFC. And honestly, with those being the main contenders, like I maybe it is homerdom, but I would take the Niners, these Niners over
I think they could
those
be
teams
better
are-
than both those two teams. I just don't
Yeah.
know if they'll be able to
Takes
get
a lot
enough
to win.
wins. Yeah.
Takes a lot, that's for sure. Not always the best team wins either. So,
Right.
Anyway, we can move on now. If you guys don't have any knot you want to put on that one. Cool. So we're moving on to everybody's favorite picks. We are going to do our weekly picks here. I'll go ahead and pull this up so we have it. Could have done this ahead of time. That's for sure. That's on me, fellas. We're getting it pulled up right now. And oops, there we go. Here we go, boys. Here we go. We're at it again. Okay, John, you have yours written down. So do you want to go? I like how we switch off who goes first every time. So let's read it in order this time. John, you don't have to reveal yours until the last. I'll go first here on Bills Patriots. Then we'll go Q goes first. Then John go first. Everybody cool with that?
All right.
Okay, cool. I will bust this one open as the Bills. Q.
Bills.
Bills.
Dollar bills.
John. Bills. Clean sweep. Q. Packers and Bears.
I'm going to say Packers.
Pack is back. John.
Before I make my pick, I want to confirm that you already have yours in your head, Casey.
That's not. I mean, we're rotating so that's always a possibility.
Okay, so I can. All right. So
you
can all
vary
change
from your written down ones if you want to. But I mean,
they've let me down so many times this season.
I don't. I'll
reason,
play your game at least. I'll at least answer your question. No, not necessarily. I don't necessarily know who I'm picking.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I have the Pack.
Okay. John has the Packers.
They've let me down
That
so many
means
times this season.
I am going to take Packers. I'm just too afraid, honestly. I would love to have taken the Bears there, but
I know.
And it probably would have been only sniffing opportunity because I do think they have a good shot, but we'll go all in the same boat.
I think we'll be opposite on this one if I had to guess.
We'll see. John, Steelers at Falcons.
Falcons.
Dirty Birds.
Let's go.
That'd be me next. Man, you might be right. I think the Falcons. This is where it's tough.
This is a really hard game to call for me.
I think the Falcons probably will win. I think it'll be close either way, but I'd be pulling for the Steelers just for whatever reason, and I think that's enough to sway me.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just want things to happen enough, and maybe it will. I'm almost regretting this pick.
You just wish it to be.
Are our picks, by the way, are our picks locked in immediately, or can we? Hey, you know what? Give me that other game after we look at it.
I think once we move on to the next game.
What if you find out at the end you have like one game different than somebody else? You go like, you know what? Give me that one. I want another chance. Like, let's say, how about this?
I think once you move on to the next game, it's locked. Personally,
new rule, making up on the fly. You can do that for one matchup only, at most.
Okay, so at the end we can each change one pick.
Yep, if you feel like you want to.
Oh man.
So you got to be thinking about it in the back of your head.
All right, I got Steelers on this one.
Ooh, I'm on an island.
First island game, John riding with the Falcons. All right, and this one will be me up first. Jets at Vikings.
Is it going to be a spanking?
Get wild. Let's get wild.
I'm going with Casey
at QB. Let's go.
I'm going with Casey on this one.
You're going with me on this?
I'm going with Casey on this one.
I mean,
I believe.
I have this written down.
I believe.
Jets.
What the?
I think we all just like feel it in the air. It's a trap game.
I can just feel
I'm not even gonna lie. I didn't even
with Zach Wilson like playing super weird. They were winning games. Like I think they just got some winning blood this year.
I'll be the first to say it's weird because like there's no Breece Hall anymore, obviously, for a while now.
They're just winners over there this year. Just, like almost despite the front office, I think.
It's so weird.
It kind of, you look at the box score, you're like, they probably didn't win, right? And then the score.
And then they're just blowing them out.
Yeah. You know what? I love that we're all on this.
And
is
I don't
this
even
is
I don't even care who starts. Either quarterback, I think they're winning.
It's gonna be Mike White. I think I heard that already. So
yeah,
I think that's
Okay.
right at least. Anyway,
Okay.
moving. Q, you had this one first. Jags at Lions.
Considering that the Ravens sold last week, I'm gonna go with the Jaguars.
Okay. Jags it is. John, who do you have here? I'm still mind blown, by the way.
I'm trying to have some faith in the North and go Lions. I guess I chose the Packers, but yeah, Lions.
Okay. John's got the Lions. This is a tough one. This is the first
This
one.
is a really I have 3 question marks after the Lions on my sheet.
Let's see. This one, honestly, I might do a little gamesmanship here because Q, you don't have an island game yet.
Oh, here he goes.
Well, I'm just trying to spread the love a little, because I am so 50-50 on this game, to be honest with you. This is maybe the hardest one so far.
And it's like you haven't watched very much of either of these teams, probably. You know what I mean?
Good. The Lions are surprisingly highlight worthy, but it's just on that stuff you don't watch.
The Lions are playing every game. The Lions are playing every game close and losing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just, if they could get a win, if the Jags don't, if we get bad Trevor Lawrence, then yeah.
I think that's where I was going anyway, Q, by the way, just so you know. But I was 52-48. It was real tight. I could have been swayed by the conversation even. So, John, you're up.
Eagles.
Eagles.
This is Titans versus Eagles. Titans at Eagles. I got Eagles.
And then it'd be me. I will say this for the Titans. There aren't a lot of matchups against great teams where many people would give them a shot. They beat a lot of bad teams.
This was a hard one for me to pick too.
Yeah, they are the right kind of team maybe to beat the Eagles at their own game a little bit, but I still don't think I'm not going there, man. I mean, it is the AJ Brown revenge game.
The Eagles safety who went out against the Packers. Do you know what his status is? I can't remember who it was.
Eagles.
Yeah, I don't know if I feel like it'll make that much of a difference, honestly.
No, I don't think it will. I think that AJ Brown's going to go friggin' nuclear for 200 yards.
Are you talking about
Q
Gardner?
Yes, that is who I'm talking about.
Yeah, I don't know if he's back yet or if he will be back.
That could play a factor because he isn't. I think he's a Pro Bowler or something. He's good, but
he's pretty good.
They're all pretty good this year.
I know that's the thing. Their whole team's good. You're going Eagles.
Yep. Boring one, but we got to do it. Next up,
Browns.
Me?
Yeah, Browns Texans. This one was hard for me to pick too, actually.
Okay, I mean, we've got another revenge game here. Big time revenge. Biggest revenge game of the year. You have the man who cannot be talked about, shunned everywhere. It's very up in the air. That is the theme of the episode. Up in the air, where Deshaun Watson's career will take him. But Cleveland has not been a place many people go to prosper in the NFL. That said, the Texans are terrible. And I'm about to take a dude that's had 1 week of practice, I think, in the last. I put Deshaun in.
You wrote Deshaun. I thought that's what you were doing.
You know what? I'm going to leave that. That was a total Freudian typing, but I'm leaving it that way.
I think he single-handedly will beat the Texans.
I think, by the way, he struggles a little bit to come back. He hasn't played in 2 years. And I don't think he comes back with a bang. He's a great quarterback, top 5 quarterback in talent. I think he struggles initially in his first few games, but somehow he is the hero in this game and he wins it because he's not losing to the Texans, man. No, I won't allow that. So,
Q. What you think?
Browns Nation, let's ride.
Browns, let's go.
Yeah.
Decoy.
This one was hard for me. He hasn't played in 2 years, but luckily he's coming back against the Texans. If there's not a better team to get your feet wet.
Literally.
And they might be called the Raiders. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean that would be the only one, but I think the Texans
or the Rams. Or the Rams.
Oh man.
Dude, the Texans are so bad.
I agree. I firmly agree. I think we're at Q here. Yeah.
Giants, come on now.
Giants over Commanders.
That's not even a question.
Dude, the Commanders are such a freaking wild card.
Dude, they are. They're a scary wild card.
Yeah, they're like a weird upsetter team, disruptor team.
huge disruptor, giving
But
the Eagles their only loss.
I think the Giants are still like healthy enough. Like I've got Giants.
You already know.
Yeah, I know. Casey,
I'm
loves that
really
disruptive
comfortable
play.
racking up L's picking the Commanders, but you know what? It's pretty sweet when they win these games. On islands for me,
I
so.
get it. Yeah, I mean that's
Bro,
Taylor
I think the
Heineke
only
is-
time when they beat the Eagles, you didn't pick them, and you're like, dang it.
Taylor Heineke looks like a starting quarterback in the NFL to me.
Yeah.
Until he
better
doesn't.
be.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Until he doesn't. I believe he earns a gig next year, whether it's with the Commanders or not. I want to see him start, and I want to see him get 6 weeks no matter what. And then whatever. But
Yeah.
anyway, all right, John.
Broncos Ravens. I have.
Have you had enough?
I have the Ravens.
Okay, because the Ravens, we didn't stay on it a ton, but as a show, we've been down on the Ravens. It's still possible we're right that they missed the playoffs. That's still unpopular of opinion. The Ravens are kind of our bar, it seems like, our like litmus test. Like, and
are you better than the Ravens?
Broncos cannot rise to the occasion, and I am with you. I've had enough. I'm tapped out.
I'm there.
You?
Yeah,
I'm
Q's been off the Broncos train. Oh,
The entire time.
he was never on that horse.
No,
Never.
Nope. Is it me? Is this fate? Did it come to me?
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
Well, I'm going with this, but my one asterisk here, not that I'm backing off the pick, is that it's a moral victory if the Dolphins win, because it's a victory for the larger, like, the coaching tree. Like, Mike McDaniel is awesome. That is 49ers East, and this system is getting celebrated this week unless both teams come out and do nothing on offense, because it's all the same system. So
yeah,
it's interesting. It's so much commentary I've seen is like, this is the game of the week. Like, we should see offensive fireworks. Like, I think most people are expecting like 80 freaking points in this game total. And I don't know if I'd go that far, but I just hope
can a team score 80 points on the Niners?
No, I mean,
sorry. Can a team score 40 points on the Niners?
That's where I'm hoping
Yeah,
we pull the win out. But I think this is easily the best offense the Niners have played, and I wouldn't expect the best showing from them, but even though they're the best defense in the NFL. Q, who you got?
Dolphins.
Okay. I'm not mad at it, man.
Somebody's on an island. And it is Quintonius. I've got the Niners as well. I'm having a hard time betting against the Niners since the CMC acquisition.
Oh, it's real life. Yeah.
Rams Seahawks. Q.
I'm gonna go with the Seahawks.
Let's go.
Oops. I can spell something.
Seahawks.
Go ahead, John.
I also have the Seahawks.
Cool. Autofill just doing it the whole time.
It's
And then
tough,
it was like,
I mean, the
mind.
Rams were already bad, and they've got injuries now. It's like
they don't have a single running back to run the ball.
Yeah, I'm on Seahawks. There's not a lot to say, man. The Rams, I think, it's not even shade. It's just I think they're folding for the season, probably. Like, with the health they have, like, I don't think they're running everybody out there. Is Stafford even going to like get back in the game at all this year? That's not. I mean that. Like,
yeah,
are they even going to try that? I don't think they are. So.
Might as well just get the other dudes.
He needs to stay out for the rest of the season.
But they also don't have great draft. They don't have any of their draft picks forever. I know that's like their whole team philosophy. So there's no point in like tanking either. So
they can come back next season and win the bowl again.
Sure,
healthy.
Yeah, totally. That's what I mean. I think they just put everybody on ice. Do they put Cup on ice too? I don't know.
And they also need to pick up a running back. Like, seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah, their committee's not really doing the job.
I don't think they can right now. I think they're set for this year. I think
they need to pick up Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, I'm sure he's super acquirable.
Actually, might. You know what?
We'll
save that for like
extension.
We'll save that for like off-season, like trade destination, or like like free agency guesses and stuff. We'll do more projections there. That actually might be a great guess, because they're one of those teams that are just going to spend through the nose. They don't care. They'll do the cash over cap thing.
Below.
And Josh Jacobs is good. He doesn't have a contract past this season. I'm almost positive. If he hits free agency, they're gonna take the best.
They're just gonna do a Niners move.
If he gets number one, he's gonna be the most sought after running back in the league.
How do the Raiders can't let him go? They can't.
No, they can't. They would be stupid.
That would be so stupid. But they already don't have
Even
the
if he
contract.
doesn't get number 1, they shouldn't let him go.
I
They
don't know.
should
Hey,
just get a quarterback.
in a weird twist of fate, we are at
They
the
should
Raiders.
get a quarterback. Exactly, John. They
Yep.
should get a quarterback.
All
They
right.
should.
And it would be a good
Speaking
team.
of the Raiders, next pick, Chargers, Raiders. I'm going first, and I'm taking the Chargers.
Oh,
Oh.
you folded on your pick, basically.
The Chargers? Why'd you
I'm
just
taking the
do that
Chargers.
to yourself?
He's had enough too. He's
Man,
conceding
he
a
psyched
Super
himself
Bowl.
out.
He's conceding a Super Bowl pick.
Chargers.
Yeah, well, it's my pick, but I will also go Chargers.
Yeah, Q knew.
He did.
Chargers.
It's okay. It's no that was no intel I needed.
But my boy Josh Jacobs gonna go off.
This is gonna be fun, guys. This is gonna be fun. Hey,
Chiefs,
I'm
Bengals.
actually kind of surprised you didn't take the Raiders because of that, Q. Chiefs, Bengals. I think
Bengals.
it's easy to say there's one team that's gonna win here. I think because they're kind of
Yeah.
a more superior team with a better,
We all know what that is.
portfolio. But I think this is gonna be.
I don't think it's gonna be that easy.
I think that at the end of the day, the Chiefs D line, especially, is just gonna kind of overpower the Bengals O line to the point where even though Burrow and his whole receiving crew are gonna go off, maybe there is no way that this team doesn't pull out the win. In my mind, they're looking like maybe the best team in football. Honestly, I don't know if I'm excited or nervous that not even Homerdome. One of the most predictable matchups you could make for the Super Bowl is a rematch of the Niners and the Chiefs. And that would be great if that happened and the Niners won. But if that happened and the Niners lost,
Yeah,
I'd be devastated, guys. I'd be in a hole for a week.
you'd be super bummed.
Anyway, sorry. I had to
last time you were kind of like, well, yeah. I mean, we weren't even supposed to be here. We'll be back. Now you're supposed to be there. You're built for win now.
Oh, we were supposed to be there. Yeah, it's true. But anyway,
You guys could easily be there if Debo Samuel was better, but
All right, Niners, Chiefs. What do you got? Sorry, not Niners, Chiefs. Chiefs, Bengals. What do you got, Q?
Chiefs.
You got Chiefs.
Yeah.
This one was a hard one for me to pick because I do think the Bengals things are picking up, but it's real hard to if it almost anybody else, like maybe even the Bills, you know what I mean? But not the Chiefs. Sorry, gotta go Chiefs.
Yeah.
All right, to the jungle out in Cincinnati.
Colts, Cowboys. So Q, you're first here. Casey, this is a Colts must win if they're gonna win the NFC South. Probably.
Cowgirls.
I also have the Cowboys.
The cow what?
The Cow Boys.
Cow days.
The Cow Men.
Oh man, I could see that rebranding in 2 years. The cow days.
The cow people.
Cow.
I think the cow people are gonna take this.
I died.
The cows.
Casey,
the Milk Boys.
don't do it. Yeah, come on.
Yeah.
Let's go.
What?
Win the AFC South, Colts.
I'm not letting that. I'm not folding yet. I am the up in the air guy this episode. I'm going to let that ride one more week.
There's two things going on here. One, that Colts AFC South pick is still up in the air. Two, Casey will take any reason to bet against the Cowboys.
I think the Cowboys
here we
are
go.
good. I think the Cowboys are good. I just
know,
want teams
but
to
you
play
just-
their best football so bad against the Cowboys. And the Colts' best football could potentially be
Good.
the Cowboys if they slip up.
Do they have the
Jeff Saturday's
offense?
a magician,
Do they have
okay?
the offense for it?
No, they don't.
We'll
They do
find
not.
it. We're going to
Yeah.
find it. Michael Pittman, 2 tuds.
I think Taylor's injured too. So
If Matt Ryan found a time machine this week and went back to 2016 and then brought his same body
form,
back,
baby.
then yeah, I think the Colts.
Kyle Shanahan
6
has been
years
sending
ago?
him emails all week about how to beat the Cowboys because it could help the Niners with seeding. So that was his offensive coordinator back in the
Sending
day
him
when he won
a
MVP.
memo.
That's what happened.
All
Yeah,
right.
and he wrote him, and then Matt Ryan did write him back. So,
Yeah. So I mean,
boom.
apparently that's not the formula for success, though. So,
Uh,
all right, what do we got? Bucks Saints in this last one. Ooh, I'm
Johnny.
curious to see if Casey will fold on this one too.
well, I mean, this is weird because it's
This is a must win for the
show.
Saints. This is a must win for the Saints if they're going to make the playoffs. Probably.
Yeah.
I got the Bucks. You gonna bet against the GOAT?
All right.
Go with big Jameis Jameis.
I don't even know who's going to be taking snaps at quarterback, like not even on a weekly basis for the Saints, like on a
play-by-play basis.
Because it was like Jameis is the starter, okay? And then it's like, all right, never mind. Hold
Dalton.
on. Again, Taysom Hill is not really a guy anymore. We don't really use him. And it's like, okay, now Dalton, but Dalton's not great, so we're gonna mix in some Taysom. And then you're like, hey, that Taysom stuff worked. Let's go like 40% Taysom. And like, what about that Jameis guy who was the starter? They're like, well, he's back, but he's like not that guy. And then it's like Andy Dalton looks great, and then he doesn't, and then Taysom Hill looks bad sometimes too. You know what? Let's friggin' go.
Yeah.
What are we really?
I respect that you're sticking with your picks. So you got the Saints over the Bucs.
Chris Olave can catch friggin' bombs from anybody. All right, like
it
that's
doesn't matter who's throwing them.
Yeah, I mean, really, it's Taysom Hill probably no matter what, but he'll get 10% of the snaps no matter who plays quarterback. So that's right. You know what? I think Taysom should be the starter. By the way, on that team.
I mean, look, I ride with Zach. I'd ride with Taysom too.
And Steve Young,
give me those Utah guys. Yeah, BYU guys, but guys from Utah. They're both
maybe the Denver Broncos originally from Utah. Recruit Steve Young to come out of retirement. He could
probably be a similar. He might be better actually than Russ.
Yeah.
Oh
I mean, he wouldn't be running as much. That's for sure.
Would Steve Young get #1 passing yards
before Russ?
He runs the ball too much. You'd be a 60-year-old dude out there just putting it on the ground. All right, what do you got? Q?
I got
wrap us up, Q. Hey, you want to take a look at this board at all? Gamesmanship plays. I mean, I don't even know.
Q's got the Bucks here.
Even though
I heard him. He said it. You can write it.
Even though they lost to the Browns last week.
All right, Casey first. Any picks you want to change?
Oh, me first? You know, as I look at this, it's crazy. The only one I think about doing now is the Vikings over the Jets.
I know, because you
because you guys followed it up with 2 Jets picks.
You wanted to be on that island.
I did
want the island.
That. I was going to do that whether or not.
You wanted the island on the Jets. You didn't want the island on the Vikings.
I just figured I was going to get it. And now I'm like, yeah, that's what I mean. I'd rather have the Vikings.
You'd rather have the island than have the Jets.
Yeah, I guess that's what it's coming. That's what I'm torn between, at least. The only way I would take the Vikings is if I get an island. But now I'm like, ooh, now it's close. On that 50-50, I'm 50-50 here. I don't know. I'm probably good. I'll probably chill.
Yeah. Q. Any you want to change?
Honestly, I'm not.
Give me the Vikings. I'm taking the island.
Okay.
This guy's crazy.
Well, I mean, come on. Justin Jefferson can catch like 3 touchdowns on his own, and that will probably do it. Dalvin Cook could still be the leader in rushing yards. Damn it. Dalvin Cook breaks off 400 on the ground in this one.
Honestly, I want to say... Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I want to.
Okay.
That was so anticlimactic.
I already know.
Oh, he found one.
Give me the Vikings.
Oh my god!
Just to spite you. Just to spite you.
All right, give me the Vikings too. No, I'm just kidding.
I was gonna be like, if you can do that, can I go back to the Jets then? Like,
no.
We gotta switch it. Like maybe Q goes first and then I go first or something like that.
I want the Jets.
Oh,
I want the
Jets. Just because you said you wanted the island, that's why I did that.
All right, John, you really want the Vikings? Okay.
No, all right. I don't want you to have the island.
That's fair. That's fair. That's gamesmanship. Q has the island with the Jets, which is I thought it was going to be a wild pick that I liked, but let's go Kirk. It's not prime time, so
yeah. I mean, they only get spanked in prime time, right?
That's
so far
supposed to be what it is. I mean, this is the final board. I like it. Hopefully, you guys like it too. Let me put this back up here.
You got it.
Thank you. Triple Cross. This has been a hell of an episode. It's good to have the three of us back at it again, boys. That's how we really get the full Triple Cross effect. I always picture like a DNA strand, almost. I don't know. Triple Helix.
That's
Cross pod.
It's weird. That was a weird. Yeah, go ahead. You keep
We're here to
going.
get weird.
Sorry, I don't mean to break your rhythm. Go ahead.
It was a funky rhythm, to be fair. Triple
Yeah.
Cross, thank you for watching the episode. I had a great time. I hope you did too. Please drop a like on the video if you watched this far. Hit the subscribe button so that you are subscribed to our channel. Hit the bell icon to get notifications for whenever we drop new content onto the channel. Boys, it's been fun. Triple Cross, keep it real.